Hi there everybody, my name is Ali and today we will be going to do the second part of the First Blood version 3 event on BugBountyHunter.com, and in this video I will be going to show you some more bugs, and most of these bugs will be those which I was unable to find out throughout the event. And this will be the last video on BugBountyHunter.com. There will be some more bugs which I will not be going to show you, but if you will watch my videos, the part 1 of this video and this video, you will be going to learn a lot of things. You will be going to learn the methodology, how to find bugs, and these are realistic bugs as well. So you will learn a lot of things from these videos. And in this video, we will be going to use some tools as well. And those tools will be from a person called xnl-hacker. And first tool which we will be going to use will be gap, which is get all parameters, that is a burp suite extension. And the second one will be KNOXSS, and we will be going to use KNOXSS, which is a very famous tool to find cross-site scripting. So that being said, let's jump in. Now coming to the main application, we are right here, and from the last video we have done all of the enumeration. So we have found out all of the endpoints, we have done each and everything. So I will be going to show you now those bugs which I was actually unable to find out. So again, we will be going to do the same thing. My burp suite is on, I have added that into my scope. So let me turn off my proxy to burp suite. Let me refresh the page, so confirm that burp suite is running in the backend. And yes, so I will click on re-enable and I will click on show only in scope items, so I can see only in scope items right here. So right now this is index.html page, it is showing 304 not modified, so that is fine. What I can do is I can again go to click on different links that I can make an appointment, I can find a doctor, I can do a lot of things. So make book appointment, let's try to book an appointment real quickly and we can see what we can do and what we cannot do. So first thing first, let's directly jump over to the tool as well, which I will be going to show you. So let's first find out that bug. So right now it is very important when you are doing bug bounties to find hidden parameters. So that is the most important thing, and in the event I was unable to do that one. I didn't focus a lot on that, but now I know that in bug bounties, finding hidden endpoints, finding hidden things are very important. So that's where we will be going to use a burp suite extension right away, and that will make our works a lot easier. So right now what we can do is I can see that this endpoint is bookappointment.php. So we need to find out whether there is any endpoint on bookappointment.php or no. So for this we will be going to use a tool, and that will be called gap. So how it does work is that I have already installed it into my burp suite from xnl-hacker, and how it does is that we need to have our target right here in the sitemap, and this is the one. And right now I will first of all click on each and every link. I will try to do everything so it detects every parameter, every endpoint, and each and everything, and then we will see. So if I click on manage appointment, right here I will be going to see your appointments.php. Let's try to enter anything random in here. Let's click on retrieve appointment. Then it says invalid appointment ID. That is fine. If I scroll down, we know that there is a login endpoint as well, login.php, about hospital, book appointment. So I will manually interact with every endpoint. So admin were the default credentials. We found that in our first video. So I am logged in successfully. That will help us find more parameters. So everything is getting logged into burp suite. So right here I can see now this is doing a great job. So let's do some more. So if I click on secure sign out might have some also endpoint. So it says file not found. I think so I am signed out now. If I refresh the page, yes, I am signed out. Now I will be going to click on like our journey. Let's see what is this one, about.html. And I think so we have crawled a application. So now it's time to actually do some other things. So if I see right here, yeah, about hospital, let's click on this one as well. I think so it's the same page. That is fine. If I scroll down, book appointment, that has been there as well. So let's now come back here, and now if I right click this in the target, and if I do something sort of extensions, click on gap, click, And let's come back to gap here, and now it will try to search for different endpoints, different parameters, and those sort of things. So in this way we have a built-in word list of parameters, and there you go. So now you can see I'm having potential parameters, there are 87, and potential links which are 22. So an extremely helpful extension which can just easily do your work very easily. So right here I am having a bunch of endpoints, and now I can do some more things to actually find more endpoints. So now if I come back, for example, if I come back here and let's try to add something, so let's say test. So I'm just entering something, I'm not testing it right now, trying to collect all of the endpoints and each and everything that I can. So let's add anything random here. Now your appointment, let's click on view appointment, so that we can have some more parameters like this success and apt id, which is appointment id. Let's try to click cancel the appointment. And are you sure? Yes, I'm sure I want to cancel this appointment. And then I can see there was a team of doctors as well, so let's analyze everything. Find a doctor. So doctors.html, then it is redirecting to doctors.php. Here we have some doctors. If I move over to these, there are some buttons here, book this doctor. So if I click on book this doctor, I am having another parameter called doctor is equal to 4, which just vanished away. And now let's try to fill this one and fill again everything random. And let's click on book appointment. Invalid doctor id supplied, I don't know, because I am not having any doctor id parameter, so we will see in that burp suite. So right here now there were 87 endpoints, or sorry, parameters which I found. But now if I come to target, if I now click on extensions, gap again, now let's come back to gap and let's see how many it finds, whether those are 87 or some have been increased. So 93. So we have got some more parameters. So in this way, just by moving all over the web application, we can find some more endpoints. So now let's try directly jump over to different sort of vulnerabilities or bugs which we can find out. So the first bug which we can find out is that right here I was able to find out whenever I will be going to have any PHP page, I will also always look for endpoints. So right here what I can do is, let's come back to proxy HTTP history. I will sort it by time. So looks fine. If I move this down here, move cookies down here as well, so it's saying 1533. If I, yeah, now if I click on double this, now I am having the latest one right at the top. So this is better. So now what I can do is, if I refresh this page, book appointment.php, what I can do is I can try to brute force for parameters on this endpoint as well. So for example, this is book appointment.php. I can send this request to intruder, and in intruder what I can do is I can simply I can do something sort of question mark, and right here there will be the parameter which I will be going to brute force. So let's add this here, add 2 times. So done. And now I will specify is equal to, and I will say let's pass any value to that parameter. So test 1 2 3 4, like this. So now in the payloads, what I will do, I will simply come to gap, I will copy all of these, copy, paste. That's all. Let's start the attack and let's see whether we have something interesting over here or no. And since this is Burp Suite Community Edition, so it will be slow, but Burp Suite Professional makes it very fast and you can find some potential things as well. So let's wait for it and let's see whether we get anything interesting or no. Okay, so my scan is done and now I can see that based upon the lengths, I can differentiate between different ones. So if I click on length a few times, I can see I'm having lengths of 18395, 18396 and 18397. So let's see what 18395 length is giving us. So I will see whether my response is reflected back onto my screen or no. So if I do test 1 2 3 4, no, my response is not reflected back, so there cannot be anything like cross-site scripting, or because the response is not reflecting back. Let's see 18396. So there is something strange which is going to change. So what I can do is I can simply see whether it is getting reflected here. Test 1 2 3 4, no. So that is fine. So I can click over this one, and in this way we can have a list of parameters, and we need to brute force every endpoint that is available for us. So that is very important, because in this way, using this extension, if you are able to find out a parameter and that is getting reflected, you can easily try to find cross-site scripting, because it might be possible that it might be filtered at all. So just adding script alert script can give you a easy payload pop-up. So that being said, let's move on, and now let's move on to some other endpoints. So there is your appointments.php, our journey, services, home. If I scroll down, book appointment, about hospital. So let's click on about one. This is about.php, so I will do the same technique on this as well, and then I will move on. And if I scroll down, let's see what else we have. About hospital, again same things. So there was an endpoint called, I think so, Doctors.php, to see the doctors information as well. So if I click on Doctors.php, we are having these all doctors as well, so we can book any doctor. I am having a doctor parameter right at the bottom as well. So yeah, the one more interesting thing is that the one parameter, like for example, when I move my mouse over to this book, this doctor, at the bottom I can see it is redirecting me to book appointment, and then doctor is equal to 2, and I know that this is a doctor parameter. So what I can do, I can use this doctor parameter as well and spray it all over the endpoints. So just like in Active Directory we do password spraying, we just get a username and a password, we spray all over the internal network. The same way we will be going to do in this bug bounty technique as well. So get one parameter, spray it all over the endpoints, so we never know whether we find something or no. So let's click on book this doctor, or let's go directly onto Burp Suite and see this endpoint, that is doctors.php. It is right here. If I send this request to repeater, let's go to repeater, click on send, and first of all let's see whether this get all parameters was able to find out this doctor parameter or no. So if I go to target again, let's go to extensions, get all parameters. If I now come here, it is searching for parameters, and we are having this time 94. So let's see in D whether do we have doctor parameter, and look like that we don't have that parameter. So that's fine. Doing this again and again, we might have that doctor parameter. That is totally fine. So it doesn't mean that this is not a good extension, but the doctor one is not here. But let's try spray it over all of the endpoints. So what we can do is we can type in something sort of this question mark, doctor is equal to, let's say, again same thing, test 1 2 3 4, send. And if I search here, test 1 2 3 4, and there you go. So we have found an endpoint that is having the same parameter which was not supposed to be here. So this doctor parameter was supposed to be on book appointment, but it is here as well. But right now, if I get all parameters was able to find this parameter and I did a brute force attack, that means that I have found it. So in that case, right now it didn't find out, but we do have got manually as well. So that's why relying on these things doesn't work at all. You need to do some your manual technique as well. So that's fine. Now we have find that there is one parameter which is getting reflected, test 1 2 3. So I will directly look for cross-site scripting. So how I can do that one? First thing first, I will click on this setting button and I will click on auto scroll, because when I change this parameter it will auto scroll down to there. So first thing first, I can see it is enclosed in single quotation, and then at the end there is a semicolon. So I can, in the beginning I can do single quotation and semicolon, send, and let's see what it happens now. And there you go, I have bypassed it. So that is a good thing for me. Now I need to pop up an alert. So to pop up an alert, okay, after test 1 2 3 4, I am seeing that there is still one single quotation and semicolon. So I can put comments, because in JavaScript we put comments by doing only 2 forward slashes, and we can see up here as well there is a comment, and in the beginning of comments I can see that there is these 2 forward slashes. So if I now simply put 2 comments right here, send now, Now I have a proper payload right here. Now one thing which I can do is I can either try to pop up an alert. Let's see if that works. So alert 0 and click on send. Let's search for alert, and looks like that it should show me an alert box. So let's see if this works or no. So if I show response in browser, copy, open a new tab, paste, hit enter, it should show me, but let's see. And there you go. So we have an alert box. So right away, just by doing these basic things, we can find some potential vulnerabilities. And this was the first bug. And this is a cross-site scripting on doctor's endpoint. The reason is that the same endpoint which is being used on book appointment is getting used here, and it is unfiltered. So right here, let's try to use some automated tool, that is KNOXSS, and we will be going to use KNOXSS XNL by xnl-hacker, which is a very good tool to actually use the API key of KNOXSS so that we can make our work easier. So I will copy this endpoint and let's see whether that automated tool works as for us. So right now I am already there in the current working directory. If I do ls, I am having those two, and there was one small mistake which I did in my previous video, so I will be going to correct that one as well here. So first thing first, I need to run python 3 knox xnl.py. Then I will specify both methods because I want to see both ones. So dash capital X, and I will specify both, which is get method and post method as well. I will do verbosity as well. I will do dash AFB, which is advanced firewall bypass, I believe. So, and then dash I for the IP address, and in the IP address I will paste my URL like this. And the mistake which I made in the previous video was that I actually told you that if I do question mark doctor parameter was there, so doctor is equal to, let's say, test 1234. So I told you that we can use this thing, which is this square bracket xss, and it will target this parameter. But no, it will target this parameter and it will check for the polyglots actually. So it will put polyglot here and it will check it, that whether it is vulnerable or no. So this is a good technique as well, but it does not say that it will target this parameter and it will try to get an alert out of this parameter. So it will test polyglots when we are doing this. So if I remove this one, if I do test 1234, it will again test this doctor parameter. So let's see if it tests it correctly, whether it finds something or not. Okay, so before doing that, I will be going to remove the verbosity flag because verbosity will show me my API key. So I will remove verbosity, but I always use verbosity. But let's see what it gives us now. So calling Knox API, and let's see whether we have alert here or no. Now manually we have found out, but using this tool, let's see. And there you go, it says that yes, you have XSS, and it has found the bypass here as well, and we are having a proper XSS. So if I copy this payload, copy, let's come back to our browser, and if I do question mark doctor is equal to paste, hit enter, and we are having, let's see, do we have an alert? And there you go, we have an alert. So this was the first bug here which I was unable to detect it, and that was cross-site scripting. Let's move on and let's see whether we can have some other bugs. So the other bugs were, let's try to now play with the appointment functionality. Let's book an appointment. I think so I already booked it in the beginning, so I will be going to see that from my history, and right here, yeah, this was the appointment which I already booked. So let's copy this one, and I think so I have cancelled it as well, but let's paste the cancelled appointment ID and let's click on retrieve appointment. It says invalid appointment ID, so that is a good thing for us. So I think so let's make a new appointment. So manage appointment, services, make appointment, and right here let's do test date of birth, this one, slot is this one, and let's add anything random here, test test test, book appointment, and I am having my appointment ID. So let's try to see what happened in the backend. So if I scroll at the top, it used this API call, and this API is having this one. So we have found some previous bugs here as well, some stored cross-site scripting, and there was an ambulance feature here as well. But what we can do is, let's try to now see our appointment. So if I copy my appointment ID, let's come back and let's see manage appointment, or let's click on view appointment here as well. So view the appointment, it says modify appointment form, and it says full name, full address, patient email, and those things. Now the thing which I am looking here is that it is saying modify the appointment form, but I am unable to modify anything. If I do this here, nothing at all, nothing. So I cannot modify this appointment form at all. But this was a thing which I tried manually as well throughout the event as well, but I was unable to figure it out. I did a lot of things. I used some parameters from the parameters. I did a lot of things, but I was unable to do this. There was a proper check, but which I was not able to figure out was that, for example, let's say we cancel this appointment. So if I click on cancel this appointment, if I click on OK, let's come back in Burp Suite. I am having an API ma.php act is equal to cancel, id is equal to this one. But the strange thing which I was unable to figure that out is that I am having some extra headers here as well. Appointment ID, name, and date of birth. And that is interesting. So if I can play with these headers, can I change the name? Can I change the date of birth? Let's see. So instead of test, I will do test 1 2 3 4, test 1 2 3 4, and date of birth, let's try to do change it to 2024. So let's hit send, and again it says success. So now I'm not sure whether we have successfully changed the date of birth or no, but this has cancelled the appointment. So if I come back here to this appointment ID page, click on retrieve appointment, let's see what happens. Invalid appointment ID. Now if I come back to proxy and your appointments and API qa.php, it says invalid appointment ID. So it has cancelled it, but we need to see it again whether we have changed the name or no. So there was a thing here, but right here I'm having another manage appointment.php where it is getting the same parameter as well. So if I click on this send to repeater, click on send, let's see what it gives now. So send, if I render this page, let's see my render functionality is working. Looks like it is working. So let's wait for it. Okay, and right away it says that this appointment has been cancelled, and there you go. We have successfully changed the name of the appointment, and we have successfully change the date of birth here as well. So date of birth is 2024, and we are having the name test1234, test134. So but just by changing the headers, just by playing with the functionality, we can do a lot of interesting things. So this was a second bug which I was unable to find out, and this is how actually we do it. So right now we are not using any tool, right now we are not doing anything, and we are finding some bugs. So we have found these two. So let's move on and let's try to play with the another thing. So there was one quick bug which I was able to figure that out. So let me show you that quickly as well. And that was that on the admin panel. So if I go to login again, so login.php, this was the bug from the previous event as well. So we can edit the password for every user. So I just forgot to show you this bug in my previous video, so I will going to show it right here, that there is a endpoint actually which is there, and we can edit the password of some other. So the endpoint was, this one was from previous hack events. So I was able to read the previous reports, and I tried the same endpoint right here, and the endpoint was doctor panel, and then it was calling a doctor API like this, and then edit password .php, and this is a post request. So right now it will not work here, but let's see what happens when I do this. So I will go to Burp Suite now. In Burp Suite I will go to proxy again, and coming here, this is this get request. I will change the request method to post, and if I change the request method to post, so change request method post, and if I do username is equal to, let's say, admin, hit enter, and you will notice that we are able to change the password. Now this functionality was actually removed from this event. But again, what you need to learn here is that there might be some things which have been removed but not properly removed. So this endpoint was not properly removed, and we can simply change the password of any user. So now the password is not admin, the password is this one. So now what we can do is, let's move on. So one more thing is that if I do admin123 send, I am having username not found. So there is one more thing which we need to learn here, is that we are having a username enumeration as well. So just by doing admin123, it's saying username not found. So we can do a brute force attack here, and we can try to find out some users as well. And by finding users, we can change their password. So we have a proper account takeover by this vulnerability. So this is another vulnerability. Now let's move on to the next ones, and the next ones will be very interesting, and those will be cross-site scripting, definitely stored cross-site scripting, and that will be all which we will going to learn here. So there will be one more that will be, okay, let me show you one more, that is cross-site request forgery. So right here, whenever we need to do something which is sensitive and which is very important, there should be a proper check. So right here, when I what and how I can find it out. So in this doctor panel, if I come to doctor panel, let's analyze different functionality. So the functionality right here I can do is, I can try to modify the doctor. Oh, modify the doctor is very interesting functionality. So modifying the doctor, let's see what happens. So modifying the doctor moves me to doctor panel, edit doctor.php, question mark id is equal to 2. Now I know that we are changing the doctor details. So this should be having a proper CSRF protection, because if it is not having a CSRF protection, someone can send me a HTML page which is CSRF POC, which is proof of concept of changing the doctor details, and if I open that, my doctor details will get changed. So we need to validate that whether I am the one who is changing the doctor details, I am the one who is authenticated, or someone else is sending. So for that we use CSRF token. So on this endpoint, which is edit doctor.php, there should be a CSRF token. So if I come back to my burp suite, and if I come here, and if I see this one, if I send this request to repeater, send, right here in the headers I can see that there is no CSRF token which I can see, whether it is CSRF, XSRF or something, the token which I can see. So there is clearly no protection on CSRF. So this is a problem here. So if I view the page source, let's see the page source and try to analyze the source code. What the source code says right here, there is a source code, and in the source code you will notice that, okay, it is creating variable names like doctor name, doctor bio. Oh, there is a CSRF token. Okay, that is great, but the problem is that it is calling doctor API edit doctor.php, and it is only doing a post request. So where is the get request? So that means that we can use a get request, and we can try to change the doctor details. So this is a CSRF vulnerability. So this was these sorts of vulnerabilities. Now we will going to focus on cross-site scripting, and that is one of the most important one and the most difficult one here as well. So let's play with the same endpoint. So let's try to, now cross-site scripting, stores cross-site scripting is very important, because right here you can see I am allowed to change the username of any doctor. So for example, right here I can see Shanice. So if I try to do something test 123, I can save information, and it says success, your doctor has been modified. If I click on OK, before going for cross-site scripting, let's see what is there a protection of CSRF over on the post request. So this was a post request, send this request to repeater, send the request to repeater, and yes, there is. So CSRF is equal to this token. So you can see this is protected by CSRF, but I can still play with it. How? I can try to remove the CSRF token. Let's see what happens. Send, and success, your doctor has been modified. So definitely it is not checking in the post request as well that whether CSRF token is being validated or no. Let me see if I am having any other header of CSRF or XSRF. I don't think so. So just removing CSRF token, there is no check over here. So let's try to change the username. So test123 4 send success, your doctor has been modified. Let's come back. If I refresh the page, and test123 4, so definitely no CSRF protection. That was great. Okay, so coming back to the again the same endpoint, which is username, so test123 4. Now the thing is that I need to see whether this test123 4 is reflecting anywhere else. So that will be a challenge for me, and that is a difficult task. And the thing is that yes, test123 4 will get reflected on a lot of places, because there are a lot of endpoints which are having the doctor name. So for example, if I show you, come back, let's go to, let's say, if I scroll down, let's go to endpoint doctors.php. So doctors.php and doctors. There you go. Right here, test123 4 is getting reflected. So this is the first endpoint where test123 4 is getting reflected. But if I go to about.php, I remember on about.php, I was having some doctors' names as well, I think so. There you go. John. I'm having doctor of the month, John here. So doctor name is reflecting here as well. Then I will go for, there was another endpoint that is meet underscore doctors.php. And there you go, Julie test1234. So there are a lot of endpoints where my doctor name is getting reflected, and I am having the ability to change the doctor name. So why not trying to test for stored XSS on every endpoint? So that will be now my next target. So let's try to first of all do h2 tag h2 and test1234. So I learned this technique again from BugBountyHunter.com. It says your doctor has been modified, and let's see how these all are doing. So right here, they're doing a great job. %LT, H2, %GT. But that's not the case. You need to try some more things as well. Again, this thing I learned from BugBountyHunter.com. If the whole H2 tag is getting reflected and it is properly sanitized, just try to put some half tag. So don't close the tag. So if I don't close this tag and do H2 save information, let's see what happens now. Success, your doctor has been modified. Click on OK. And this time it doesn't actually convert my less than bracket into %LT. So right here, there will be definitely in my mind that I am up to a bypass here. I can try to go for a bypass because it is trying to check some specific sort of things. It is checking whether it is having a closing bracket as well, which is closing less than sign, greater than sign. If it is, then it is converting. But if I'm not putting that closing tag, then it is not ampersanding. So let's try to now play with this one. So how we can play with this one is, let's try to test this on any endpoint. So right here, I will go to Burp Suite to make things much more easier. And let's see which is the post request. This is a post request. I will send this request to repeater, and I will rename this to, let's say, I am editing edit doctor.php. So I'm editing the doctor here. That's fine. And I will pick another request. Let's pick okay, let's pick this one. So this one is having St. John. Okay, here my name is getting reflected. So meet doctors.php. So I will come here and from proxy, let's see where is meet doctors.php. Send this request to repeater. Go to repeater, and I'll see this is where my reflected input is. Okay, so send, and if I search for test1234, okay, right here I can see test1234. So now I can test for a lot of bypasses by going to payload all the things and by going to different things. So let's come back here and let's try to change the payload. So first thing first, I can try to do image source is equal to x, but I think so that will not work as well. But right now I need to see where my endpoint is reflected, whether I can escape it or no. So right now it looks like that my test123 here is in h3 tag, I believe. Yes, it is in h3. So I need to close the h3 and I think so double quotation as well. I don't know, but let's try. So if I do something sort of this thing and then do test1234, send, success, your doctor has been modified, send here again, and looks like that I have escaped, but h3 is right here. So right now what I can do is, shall I put a double quotation in the beginning of this one so that it works again? Let's try again, send this again. Yeah, it was looking previously fine as well. This time it is looking fine as well. I don't know whether double quotation is making sense here or no, but I'm having test1234 escaped here. Looks escaped. Okay, so now what I can do is I can inject a payload here again. So to inject a payload, I can do something sort of, let's say, opening angle bracket. I will do, let's try to do SVG, and I can do on event handler of loading. If I do on load is equal to alert. Let's see what happens when I do on load is equal to alert of 0. Now I'll remove test123 from here. So hit send. Your doctor has been modified. Hit send here again. Let's scroll this down manually. Or let me search here for alert function. Okay. So it is looking fine for me. Let's see the response in browser. Because if I can bypass this somehow, I am having cross-scripting on a lot of endpoints. No, I don't get an alert right here. So it is showing me this one, but this one is not working. Whether I need to remove this h3 tag, I don't know. Onload is equal to alert 0. Do I need to put it in double quotations? If I do double quotation here, double quotation send, come here, send again, but I don't know, but let's try show response in browser, copy, paste, and doesn't work again. Oh, it does work. So here you go. So without closing the angle bracket, I can still get a XSS. So if you are thinking that, okay, I don't need to close the angle bracket and I need to bypass that filter, this is how you can actually do it. Now what actually happened is that it actually executed my event handler on load, and on loading the website it actually pop up an alert, and we are having this one. So right here now, since I am having the doctor name reflected on a lot of places, so I can use the same endpoint. So for example, if I go to doctors.php, doctors.php, the same parameter would have reflected back here. So, and there you go, I have an alert here as well. Again, there was another one that is about.php. So let's go to about.php, and I don't get an alert. Why? Because doctor of the month is John. So let's come back here, and this time I will edit the information of John. So let's click on, okay, John is unavailable, but I will click on modify and I will make it available as well. So, but in the John, I can paste the payload. So let's come to our burp suite. The payload is this one. Paste, save information, success. And now if I come back to about us page, if I refresh this page, I should get an alert. And there you go. So in this way, by doing these sort of things, we can have a lot of vulnerabilities, and just by testing manually, we can do a lot of things. We can use some extensions, we can use KNOXSS, we can use get all parameters to help us away. But the main thing is that try to play with these things manually, and you can find stored XSS. Even I actually found SQL injections as well just by doing manual things. So just recently this I found a based blind SQL injection on integrity, and that was fairly easy. I didn't use anything. I used intruder and I used manual payloads. I used some payloads from GitHub. I used, and that's all. No tool, no SQL map, nothing at all. And the best thing is that after that I tested it with Burp Suite Active Scanner, Burp Suite Professional Active Scanner, and I used some very professional tools, and those were not able to find that vulnerability. So it was all because of manual techniques. And one more thing, that after finding time-based SQL injection, I was sleeping the website for 20 seconds, okay? But now the company asked me for further exploitation. So I tried to use SQL map, but SQL map was unable to find further exploitation as well. So there I did a lot of research with one of my friend, and we actually, he was able to actually write a query by which we were able to dump the databases. So that was all manual. So try to learn things manually and try to do all of the things manually. So this was all about this video. Hope you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot using Knox, you're using get all parameters, and from a part 1 video, part 2 video. And in this video there were only 1 or 2 bugs which I was able to find out myself. Otherwise I was not able to find anything, but that's fine. We need to learn things a lot. So that was it for today's video. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.